Hello horror fans and welcome back to HorrorScoped. Today, we're going to have an adventure in babysitting. Of course, even babysitting can be terrifying. And today's trip is going to take us to a small apartment home of an infant horror known simply as the Baby in Yellow. But just what is this innocent looking baby with strange eyes? Let's talk about that. And if you enjoy game breaking and lore from your favorite horror games, subscribe now, because we do that a lot here. So, the Baby in Yellow takes us on a harrowing journey of a babysitter, tasked with watching a baby in an apartment. I'm sure the sitter expected to have to watch the child, make sure it was fed, keep it safe, change a diaper or two, and put it to bed. That all checks out, right? Well, yes, but I don't think our unfortunate sitter was counting on the baby in question being a Lovecraftian horror. During the roller coaster ride of experiences our babysitters put through, they come to discover that not all is what it seems with this child. Between objects being moved by unseen forces like poltergeist, to the infant themselves taking on a much more sinister look. Accompanied with all the tentacle craziness that Lovecraft is known for, it becomes clear that the sitter is not being paid enough for this job. The first clue for just how bad the sitter's situation is comes from the infant itself, though it is certainly surrounded by strange occurrences throughout the first day. The second day brings with it a key to the laundry room with access to the attic. Within this room is a tape recorder, which holds a recording left by the previous sitter. Quote, "Snow, a curiosity in July following such a sweet spring. It started when I took this job, but I was not the first. They are with me. Night fell the first day and the hours dragged on. Still we cared for the child. We spoke of Hastur and Casilda in their absence, while outside the fog rolled in, as the cloud waves rolled and broke on the walls. Oh, the sin of such innocent eyes, clear as crystal, understood by the ignorant and wise alike, more precious than jewels, more soothing than music, more awful than death. Then, as I fell, I knew the Baby in Yellow had opened its tattered mantle, and there was only God to cry to now." End quote. Hastur. This name belongs to a being in literature featured in Lovecraft, but it's actually older still. Initially an entity of what could be called neutrality, Hastur had the first appearance in the 1893 short story Haiti the Shepherd by Ambrose Bierce. Here, this being was cited to be a benign god of shepherds. Later works evolved Hastur into a more cosmic figure, before eventually arriving in the Lovecraft mythos with titles such as the Unspeakable One, Him Who Is Not to Be Named, or the King in Yellow, all which sprang forth from yet another author, who had utilized the entity in their own works in the late 1800s. Robert Chambers began the character's evolution into more of a horror figure, before H.P. Lovecraft himself became enchanted by the character in the early 1900s. The earlier quote from the previous babysitter in The Baby in Yellow seems to reference a quote from one of Chambers' works, The Yellow Sign, where the only direct mention of Hastur reads, "We spoke of Hastur and Casilda." This, however, is not all, as there is one more link that ties this infernal infant to this god of eldritch horror, the place known as Carcosa. Carcosa is a fictional city that exists either on another planet or in another universe entirely. A place of ruin, Carcosa is ancient and has long since been destroyed. This of course brings us back to the game, where we find the quote, "Head down, curled horns proud, a plaintive cry, shrill and loud, charging blindly into misty Carcosa." The baby, likely Hastur or an avatar of them, seems to find joy in locating playthings and trapping them in this dimension of Carcosa, never to be set free. We can see the wrath of this child firsthand when trying to escape from it ourselves, let alone the anger we read about through the story of the White Rabbit. Truly terrifying indeed. So with this on the table, what do you think will happen next in The Baby in Yellow? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all soon. Until next time, cheers!